Japanese cars have cemented a place in the hearts and imaginations of car guys and girls worldwide. The Toyota Supra, the Nissan Skyline GT-R, the newer Lexus LFA, all conjure up not just the image of the car but the unique experience each brings to the driver. But there's one vehicle that on paper doesn't belong. Before sitting in the driver's seat, you might not understand its ranking alongside the heavyweights nor how it holds its own in the top leagues. After all, can it really be described as anything more than a glorified Civic? That's where the beauty of the Acura Integra Type R really starts showing off. It responds to the critics by not even answering their criticisms and queries. Instead, it replies with an answer all of its own. This video is gonna dive into the Integra Type R and its fully deserved place on the world stage. 1996 Honda Acura Integra Type R specs. Honda began production of its 1996 model year Integra Type R in 1995, badging the car under its performance brand Integra. It owes much of its brilliance to its incredible engine, developed thanks to Honda's experience in motorsports, particularly in Formula One. The stock North American model came with a high-revving B18C 1.8-liter naturally aspirated DOHC VTEC inline 4. The JDM model produced 197 horsepower at 8,000 RPM and 131 foot-pounds at 7,500 RPM thanks to an upgraded compression ratio of 11:1. In comparison, the export model produced 195 horsepower, almost the same. The aluminum block is similar to the standard Honda setup, but the crankshaft was forged, balanced, and polished with intense scrutiny. Without a solid base here, the engine would never have maintained its intended high revolution performance for long before a catastrophic failure. The pistons are also high-pressure die-cast aluminum, complete with new oil paths and oil jets to keep them cool. These were a brilliant, lightweight upgrade and a major part of the engine's performance-oriented ability. The VTEC is part of the main reason for how beloved the Integra Type R is. Once it kicks it at around or just under 6,000 RPM, the intake lift increases by almost 1 millimeter and advances the timing 10 degrees, while the exhaust valve lift increases by 1.1 millimeter and advances by 8 degrees. This means much more aggressive airflow and power production. Technicians hand polish the head ports and surrounding surfaces to reduce turbulence. Alongside the adjusted intake and exhaust systems, lightweight valve stems, and dual valve springs, this meant that at the time, the US Type R's version of the B18C produced 108 horsepower per liter and held the record for the most power per liter ever made in a naturally aspirated North American car. It was front-wheel drive, much to the initial dismay of some at the time, and came with a 5-speed manual and helical LSD. Officially, it weighed in at 2,480 pounds or 1,130 kilograms. Chassis-wise, the Integra Type R was based heavily on the Civic, but with many extra modifications and reinforcements. This was something many competitors could have done more effectively rather than choosing to leave the frame as standard and bolt on performance components. It makes all the difference to the Acura. For example, the chassis sees extra seam welds and metal sheet frame bracing to enhance its rigidity. Honda chose to remove heavy parts unnecessary to the driving experience, including the air conditioning, sound system, moonroof, cruise control, and even a significant portion of the insulation. Once they finished, the Type R was about 90 pounds lighter than the Integra VTEC. Air conditioning and sound systems were options on some models. Inside, the Recaro bucket seats, custom gear selector knob, and small diameter steering wheel give you the feel of a true performance car, and that's matched on the outside. The Type R used tuned, stiffer double wishbone front suspension and semi-trailing arms at the back. Combined with the bigger brakes, the car was more than capable of applying the engine's impressive power straight through the wheels to the road surface. For the first couple years of its life, the Integra Type R had 15-inch 4-lug wheels fitted with Bridgestone tires. For the 1998 model, these were upgraded to 5-lug 16-inch wheels with bigger tires. Other than that, very few changes were made to the car throughout its lineup history. The DC2 first gen and DC5 second gen Integra Type R. The most popular and coveted of the Acura Integra Type Rs is the DC2. The vast majority of these hailed from the JDM, naturally coming in right-hand drive and as usual with marginally more power compared to exported models. The States did receive a few imports from 1997, most of these arriving heavier than the JDM models. They slotted in above the already marketed Integra GSR spec. Although there was a hiatus in 1999, production returned for 2000 and 2001 when the DC2 Integra Type R's marketed life ended. Resurrected. Across these 4 USDM years, 97, 98, 2000, and 2001, only 3,823 models were introduced to the roads, making left-hand drive models quite rare. In North America, the DC2's front end was modified slightly and standard leather seats made it stand out. Of course, they're also left-hand drive. Although the gearing is similar to the GSR, gears 2, 3, and 4 have a narrower range, increasing the output. The final drive on the DC2 is also greater. Later in 2001, the DC5 Integra Type R was announced for Japan only. While this iteration certainly isn't as internationally beloved as the DC2, it still stands on its own 2 feet in the performance department, retaining that front-wheel drive heart and a brain that's all about handling. The DC5 came with a 2-liter K28 engine. Interestingly, despite being 200cc larger than the B18C from the DC2, it was 10 kilograms lighter, with significant tech incorporated into upgrading the airflow, particularly to the intake and exhaust manifolds, as well as further valve adjustments and an improved VTEC system. The K28 kicked out 220 HP. These propelled the DC5 to a 0 to 60 time of around 6.5 seconds. Alongside the engine, the 6-speed transmission was fitted with multiple synchro mesh cones for each gear, 3 for first and second, and 2 for the remaining gears. Honda fitted the DC5 with a wealth of changes and adjustments much like the DC2. For example, they removed all the sound deadening insulation and unneeded luxury features, showcasing their objective of performance over comfort. Despite the weight reduction, the DC5 was 60 kilograms heavier than its older brother thanks to being wider and taller. In 2004, the DC5 received a facelift. Adjustments were made to the bumpers, headlights, and taillights, along with a redesigned air intake. The brakes and suspension were also tweaked to make them harsher and firmer. The DC5 was the final Integra Type R despite only being the 2nd generation. Although many people praised it, it didn't sell well enough. From 2001 to 2005, 12,247 models were produced and bought in Japan. From here onwards, the Integra market would be redirected into the 2007 Civic Type R, which became the successor to both it and the first 2 EK9 and EP3 Civic Type R generations. Getting an Acura Integra Type R today. You will find Integra Type Rs on the market today in both the US and Japan. A reasonable condition model will set you back around $15,000, with pristine units often fetching $25,000 to $35,000. Unlike many of its counterparts, the Integra Type R doesn't lend itself to modifications. The drivetrain is already excellent. It isn't for drag racing. Everything is optimized to make it a powerful yet nippy sports car, most at home roaring through twisty back roads or up and down a mountain pass. If you got the funds, getting into the Integra Type R game is certainly possible. The issue isn't so much supply, it's physical condition. And that's the most important thing to consider. All the previous owners have had the same thought you're entertaining right now. They've stamped their right foot to the floor and popped the clutch, redlining the engine to the limiter before slamming the transmission in the second, always mindful to keep the revs above 6,000 RPM for that VTEC boost. The inevitable consequence here is significant wear and tear. While this might bring character, it will also mean a hefty repair bill if you don't know how to rebuild or swap an engine yourself. The other point that's well worth bringing to your attention is theft. 90s Hondas, as with many other vehicles, disappear on a frighteningly regular basis. If you purchase one, especially if it's evidently in peak condition, one of your first investments should be an ignition interlock, steering wheel clubs, and satellite trackers. We aren't saying you shouldn't purchase an Integra Type R. In fact, these cars are arguably one of the cheaper ways to get into the car scene. However, balance financial implications with what you might need to do. The driving experience, the point of the Integra Type R. The Integra Type R doesn't have the biggest numbers. Its peak torque and horsepower aren't really anything special. It rises far above that. Honda clearly spent an awful lot of time refining the setup to optimize the power output and handling. Despite the moderate peak torque, the curve is a steady rise, meaning excellent launches and initial acceleration. But it's at about 6,000 RPM where the true beauty kicks in. The bigger cams lock in under the B18C's VTEC, advancing the valve timing and introducing the peak rev range of power. With foot to the floor, the RPMs climb exponentially to the red line of 8,400 RPM, the maximum power kicking in just before that point at around 8,000 RPM. Shifting up a gear sees the engine speed drop to about 6,000 RPM, keeping it just inside the VTEC range and enhancing that bullet-like acceleration. On top of this, the small steering wheel is highly responsive, with minor movements causing quick but natural responses from the front wheels. It feels like there's always an impressive amount of traction, leaving the driver completely in control of this powerhouse. It's a stark opposite to some other high-performance vehicles where some require so much concentration to take around a corner that some of the joy gets stripped away. The Type R is pure, unadulterated fun. It will go down as one of the most affordable and enjoyable performance vehicles in history. According to motoring magazines from the time and still today, the Integra Type R is the best front-wheel drive car ever made and the best that will ever be made.